we're going to start things off. We're going to get going. We're going to get cracking. We're going to be exploring violent verse and a little bit of a history of violent verse. Okay, so here we go. I want to know, though, I'm going to do a little thing here. I wonder if you can tell me, let me know what this person is saying and who are they.
Come up here. Hi. Come up here. Hello, please.
Okay. Japan Maple said, do you live here? Mercenary1 said, do you want a pair? That's pretty good. And I love bees. Look, I'm going to be honest with you, it's kind of a bit of a mystery what this person is saying. Well, I should say it's not really a person who's saying it. I should say it's actually a Tui bird. A Tui bird is a bird that is native to New Zealand. It's a songbird, and it's part of the honeyeater family. And Tui birds, just like parrots, can say human words. They have one of the most complex songs in all of the bird world, and they use this song for two reasons. They use this song to attract a mate, and they use this song to defend their territory. But they can also say human words. Now, I wanted to start things off with the Tui bird, because in the Tui bird, we can see the origins of violent verse. The Tui bird is a surprisingly violent creature. Very, very territorial. Over here, I've got a rough diagram of some Tui territories. And what's happening here is we have, over here, we have a male Tui bird and a female Tui bird, and this here is the male's territory. Encased in here is the male's territory. Now, male Tui birds, very, very territorial. If, for instance, another male was to try and come near, even close to the territory, like this Tui bird over here, this Tui bird was to come over here, studies have shown that the male Tui bird whose territory has been encroached in will listen out for the song of this encroaching Tui bird and listen out to see if that song was simple or complex. Because if it was complex, then that Tui bird will be a threat, because females are attracted to Tui birds who can sing in a complex song. And this Tui bird here will maybe let something slide if it was just like a simple song. But if it was a complex song, this Tui bird over here, this male, would come down on the edge of the territory, and the female over here would observe, and these two male Tui birds would have a battle. A battle where they would be singing at each other very intricate, beautiful songs, and the female here would observe and see who's coming out on top, who is worthy of my love. Now, we don't know what these Tui birds are saying. We can only assume that it's violent, like, you're terrible at eating seeds. I don't know what Tui birds sing about and how they diss people, but the origins of violent verse and diss tracks come from the animal kingdom, come from Tui birds. Yeah, that's right. So we're going to have a look at a few things in this, but one thing I want to ask is this question. Which of these two images shows better art? Is it option 1 or is it option 2? What do you reckon? Vendible Sugar, Fight to the Death with Songs. Japan Maple says, Who can squawk the best? I like squawk. But what are these pictures? Of these pictures, which one shows, quote unquote, better art? Japan Maple, I knew someone would say this. I don't think you can say art is better or worse. It's opinion. That is interesting. I know, that's why I'm putting it in quotations here. Better art. Another way of saying better might be more, what I might say is, I might say complete. Which image shows more complete art? Get out of the freezer, you're here! Nice, that's okay. It's fine that you're late. I had some technical problems, so it all ends up well. White Panda Fox says 2. Interesting, White Panda Fox. Why do you say 2? Why is 2 more complete art than 1? I think you're right, but why? Is 2 from a film? Ooh, maybe 2 is from a film. So that would be more complete because it's depicting theatre and it's in the medium of film, so it's 2 art forms. Interesting. 1 looks like it's live theatre. 2 has cooler lighting. It does have cooler lighting. 2 is more complete because of these people, the audience. Now, 1 might have an audience, we don't know, or it might just be a rehearsal. And often when we think about art, we think of the person, making the art, or the person performing the art. Or, for instance, we think of the 2 Tui Birds going at each other. But in order for art to really be art, it probably needs an audience. And with the Tui Birds, the audience here was the female Tui Bird. 2 has an audience. 1 might have an audience. We don't know if it has an audience. And when we're looking at and we're thinking about violent verse, we're going to be thinking about not just person 1 going in for person 2. We're going to be thinking about, I guess, person 3, the audience who witnesses it, and the space in between here. And that's where we get the really exciting kind of art that comes out. And you see this with everything. There might be someone on stage in theatre, and they're having a conversation with someone else on stage, and these 2 actors are performing, and that's cool. But when the audience responds to them having a fight or having a nice friendship scene, all of a sudden it takes on more of a life of its own. And so the audience, although they're just watching, they also have an influence on the art that's being performed. Or in the case of violent verse, the animosity between those 2 people. Okay, so we're gonna keep going. Oh, 1 million sloths. Hi guys. Cool. All right. So when we look at audience, who do you think you are in this picture? Who are you in this picture? Let me know, and I'll see if I can circle them. Because all of us are audience members in a way. We see art all the time. We observe things. We are all audience in different contexts, whether we're watching even Netflix, even if we're reading a book. We've all had a chance at being an audience. And which audience member are you? Second row, blue shirt and tie. All right. This guy. Yeah. That fat old man with the cheap suit. Oh man, that could be the same one. I don't know. Okay, nice 1 million sloths. I'm the really pixelated woman in the middle. She's super pixelated. I don't know how that came about. Wow, yeah. Nice. So audience matters, and more audience matters with violent verse. All right. This is a little cute thing that I thought of. What period of history does this picture represent? Cheap little hint. It's not about... this maybe wasn't invented in this period of history. Think abstractly. What do you reckon? Iron Age? Ooh, maybe not Iron Age. No. Bonk Age? I don't know what the Bonk Age is. Guys, this is so lame. the age that I'm talking about in history is where we often start things in AimHi when we're looking back at time. We start things with a certain group of people to the east of Italy. It's actually ancient Greece. And what happens if you let Greece go ancient, it loses its lubrication, and when metal rubs up against it, it causes sparks. So this is why this picture is ancient Greece. Ancient Greece is often where I start when I'm looking back in time, and we're gonna begin things with this poet here. This poet here is the poet Pindar. And Pindar was a very serious, highly regarded poet in ancient Greece. A very serious guy. Look at that statue. Super serious. But Pindar was famous for writing these victory poems for people who won events in the Olympics. So that's this person over here who won wreath in the Olympics. And Pindar was very serious with these and was very highly regarded. But in the celebrations that Pindar did of these people, these victory poems, and I'll pull this up here, Pindar also did a lot of insulting. So, God, who can overtake the winged eagle, or upon the sea outstrip the dolphin? And he bends the arrogant heart of many a man, but gives to others eternal glory. In this case, Pindar is honoring Hieron, this great athlete, that will never fade. Now for me, is it needful that I shun the fierce and biting tooth of slanderous words? For from old have I seen sharp-tongued Archelaus in want and struggling, grown fat on the harsh words of hate. So even in this poem, what he's doing is he's praising this great hero, but at the same time he's dissing his rival, and his rival is over here. He's dissing his rival Archelaus, and this happens all the time in poetry and poetry history. Poets can be real mean, and they can just diss people all the time. So if we look at this, Pindar, the serious poet, would often go to these parties called Symposium. And in these parties, there would be a lot of drinking, people would share ideas. And in these parties, what would happen is Pindar would go to one of these parties, there would be an audience. Remember, audience is so important for these things. You have Pindar over here, the poet. Pindar. Oh man. You have maybe a rival. And then you have the audience, which are these people in here. Guys, I'm so sorry for my I'm so sorry for my writing. I'm such a messy writer. But essentially what would happen is you go to these symposium and everyone would have a bit too much wine, and people would read poems from the classics, things that were already classics even in those times that everyone knew. A lot of the time people knew the words off by heart of poets like Homer, who wrote the Odyssey and the Iliad, and they would have reading competitions. And these reading competitions, what they would do is they would subtly change the words to insult someone else. So for instance, in the Iliad, there might be a description of a person, and in that description, they'll just change one word, and it will be a reference, for instance, of someone they don't like being a little bit chubby, or maybe inheriting all their money from their parents. And they would do this, and it was a term called capping. And I was thinking I would get a couple of descriptions from books that I like of people, and we could subtly change the words to make them insulting. Not to anyone in particular, but just to, I don't know, just for the person they're describing. So this is from The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. He was sunshine most always. I mean, he made it seem like good weather. So it's a pretty good description of someone. Describing someone as if they make it look like there's good weather. How could we change 2 words to make this an insult? What would we do? What were the words that you would change? Get out of the freezer. It's okay, Phil. My writing is way worse. Well, it's good to know there's someone worse. What do you reckon? This method of capping, of changing words slightly to change the meaning. Sunshine to rain. Okay, he was rain or thunder. And good to bad. Oh, okay, nice. I like thunder better. He was thunder most always. I mean, he made it seem like bad weather. Yeah, you could subtly change it, completely change the meaning, and throw someone under the bus. Overcast. Overcast is even more ominous. He was overcast most always. I mean, he always made it sound like boring weather. Change it again. Nice. All right, well, let's do another one. His heart was like a sensitive plant that opens for a moment in the sunshine, but curls up and shrinks into itself at the slightest touch of the finger or the lightest breath of wind. How can you make this, at the moment, describing someone as sensitive and soft, maybe good, maybe bad, but how can you change it so that they're still sensitive, but in a really bad way, and you only can use 3 words? How do you do it? His heart was like a stinky plant? Okay, all right. Stinky? A selfish. Ooh, I like selfish. Selfish is good. Like a stinging plant. Oh, see, it changes the meaning the whole time. And you can just imagine in ancient Greece in these big parties, and everyone knows all the words, and so they know that the word is meant to be sensitive, but instead you look over and your rival or the person you want to diss is like gorging themselves on some food, and you could just say greedy plant, and everyone knows exactly what you're talking about, and everyone's like, whoa, bang. Anyway, so shade has often been used by poets in subtle ways, but also in some more aggressive ways. I might hurry on a little bit. Can anyone tell me what's happening in this picture here? What's happening in this picture? Pure savages. Viking Banquet. Ooh, it is a banquet. And it does look Viking, doesn't it? I actually don't know if it's Viking, so maybe you know more about me. Do you know why it's Viking 1 Million Sloths? Are they capping? They are capping in a way. They're doing a very particular type of capping though. This was a medieval style of capping. We're going to move forward in time. This was called flyting. And flyting is something that happens and is described in the literature that something that the gods do, and the Norse gods would do this. So we like Loki, for instance, the god of mischief, would always be flyting. But so also it's something that real people did, where they would have competitions of poetry that were just insults, but it would always happen at a feast. So an Anglo-Saxon feast would happen in England, and there would be one person who gets up the front, and you were even allowed to insult the king. And it was a safe place, and then the king could then insult you, and then it would be a competition of whose insults were the best. Now, these were not just insults, they were poems. They had to have structure, they had to have some poetic techniques to them, and it was pretty much the original rap battle was flyting that happened in the Middle Ages. So rap battles and violent verse have its origins all the way back in the Middle Ages. But then we get to things like this. Does anyone? This is actually a picture of me here. Slam poetry. Does anyone know what slam poetry is? Oh, Get Out of the Freeze says Epic Rap Battles of History. Really good YouTube channel, yeah. Where they get people, maybe Abraham Lincoln versus Martin Luther King rap battle. Jonah Hill, yes, it's from 22 Jump Street. It's a scene where he does slam poetry. Slam poetry was invented pretty much because this guy, Mark Smith, in 1984, realized that no one went to poetry events. The problem was, there was no audience. No one wanted to go. And realized that poetry needs to have those three circles. It needs to have maybe the person performing it, and it needs to have an audience. And to make things interesting, he created a kind of battle poetry format called slam poetry that was competitive, that was judged by the audience, and that you had to try and win over the audience with your performance. And sometimes in slam poetry, people are thrown under the bus, but sometimes not. And there would be a scoring system where the audience would cheer or put up a score for who they thought was the best. And in a way, it's kind of like rap battles as well, kind of like flyting. It's less mean than that. This is me doing a slam poem a few years ago. I look a bit younger then. But Japan Maple says, not aggressive enough. All right, not aggressive enough. Fair enough, fair enough. In fact, it's very supportive. People at slam poetry events, they click to show their support. So the audience is involved, but you're right, maybe it's not aggressive enough. We need to go to our last battle rap. And here's a question for you. Why is battle rap like the NBA dunk competition? Every year the NBA has a dunk competition where you could do like the fanciest, coolest dunks, like spinning in the air, flipping around behind. It's really fun to watch. Why is battle rap like the NBA dunk competition? James Corden ruined rap battles for me. Me too. Oh, me too. The audience cheers. Yes, the audience does cheer. That's a good one, Mers91. Another reason is pretty much rap battles are a showcase or showing off, an exhibition of what a rapper can do, just like a dunk competition is what a basketballer can do, and all the freedom afforded to them. So it's a test of how lyrical you can be, the different forms you can use, but also how you can undermine your opponent aggressively, like this guy here. Now, these are some lines from battle rap, and you can see the cleverness. My guns are like the letter V because they are coming after you. Now, that doesn't rhyme, it's just one line, but this one here has internal rhyme for it. Those look like Tom Cruise's mum's shoes. Like Tom Cruise rhymes with shoes, and Tom and mum have similar sounding vowel sounds, and so that kind of rhythm and those phonetics make it sound more inevitable, make it sound punchier, and that's why rhyme comes into this. So, but I need to write this, so peel your eyelids, so you'll witness the beast, the nicest. Just peek my rhymes and compete with mine. You need some time, fam, so breathe. It's fine. Little subtle diss, a little praise of their own stuff. Battle rap is about trying to destroy the other person. So person one, destroy them. It's trying to big you up and make you more impressive, but at the same time, it's about winning over the audience. Now, I thought we could finish this. I know we're sort of running out of time. I found some things that I hate, and I thought we could finish them with a rhyming couplet, which is like a 1-2 battle rap punch. This is Coriander. Does anyone else hate Coriander? I hate Coriander. I think it's a taste thing. Some people have that taste that coriander tastes like moldy Wet-X. So this is the first line in it. You make everything worse. You're a terrible garnish. Now, I want you to finish this rhyming it with garnish. And it's about coriander. You make everything worse, you're a terrible garnish. I knew some people would love coriander. But for the sake of it, we're going to hate coriander. You You make everything worse. You're a terrible garnish. Get out of the freezer. You taste like you're dipped in my mama's nail varnish. Oh! You're super stinky like the fumes of nail varnish. Boom. I like it. All right, let's do another one. This is a parking fine, which I hate. Wow, you really put the pain in window pane. All right, what's a rhyme that we can have with pain? You really put the pain in window pane. What do you reckon? Who's got the best one? Remember, the rhyme is so important because it makes the line and the diss sound inevitable, that it was a meant to be. Wow, all right. Get out of the freezer. Wow, you really put the pain in window pane. Let me park at the gym. I need to get my gain. I like it. Wow, you really put the pain in window pane. If you were to go, it'd be the opposite of a shame. Penalties are worse, but actually, you're the same. Oh, very good. Thank you, White Panda Fox. Thank you, Japan Maple. Thank you for Get Out of the Freezer. We come to the end of it here, and in violent verse, you always have two parties going at each other. But in order to do that, they need to win over the audience. And the audience isn't just important for violent verse, it's important for all art. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you for your input. My name is Phil Wilcox. Never trust a poet. This is me signing off. See you guys.